Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope everyone had a good lunch. We have about 130 people in this room right now, but on our registration, it should be about 250 and above. We had about almost close to 270, 280 people earlier this morning. While waiting for some of our people beginning to log in, let's do a quick fun quiz or quick fun question. This is a real question right now. Listen carefully. How many of you in the past 2 days managed to buy a loaf of gardenia bread? If you have, say yes. There you go. Only 4, 5, 6. Gardenia. Massimo also can. I struggle. I couldn't buy any of it for the past 2 weeks. Yesterday, when I was at a supermarket in Mont Kiara, because of my work schedule that's tight. Every time I go in the morning, afternoon, it was like I couldn't get anything. But when I saw that one big loaf of gardenia bread yesterday afternoon, when I went to the supermarket, I ran to the corner and I grabbed it. Right, so it's like I suddenly become a champion because I managed to get my gardenia bread after 2 weeks. So, yeah, some fun fact. Now, one more thing. What did you guys? Yes, I did jump with joy. I quickly text my mom. I said, I finally bought that gardenia bread. There you go. There you go. Now, quick question. How many of you? What did you guys have for lunch this afternoon? What did you guys have for lunch this afternoon? Put it in the chat box right now. Let's just all have some fun before we start. Porridge, bread and soup. I hope it's gardenia bread. Wonton mee, Texas chicken, pizza, bak kut teh, porridge, fish and soup, red bean soup. Wow, so many things. All right, wonton mee, mixed rice, pasta, mee goreng. All right, vinegar pork toast, pancake with ice cream. Wow. Awesome. My wife made beef ball noodles. Wow, fantastic. All right, it looks like we have about 173 people already in the room. And I think that, how many of you were here this morning in that first session? Say yes. How many of you walk away after the session thinking that you were a little bit smarter after the session? Say yes. There you go. There you go. I told my team, suddenly I felt that I was a little bit smarter than I was before this morning. Now, today, this afternoon, for those who are here, that you were not here this morning, we went through a wing which our trainer today went through a perspective of the overview of how the property market is and what does it look like and what does it mean for a real estate agent. Now, I think the second part is really, he's going to give you 4 things or key things that will support your business in this time moving forward. How many of you are ready? If you're ready, press 1. If you're ready to go, press 1. All right, you're ready to go. Wing, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
I can't hear you, Wing.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can't hear you. Are you there? Can you try your sound?
Yeah.
It's very soft. It's very, very soft.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you right now. Maybe a little bit, just a little bit more. Welcome, especially welcome to those delegates from KW Asia countries. KW, I know we have KW Indonesia, we have KW, hey Jack, how are you? KW Indonesia, KW Vietnam, KW Philippines, KW Cambodia. If you are here, thank you very much for joining us. KW Vietnam as well. We're all here together as one family. There you go, KW Thailand as well. Thank you for joining us. KW Cambodia, KW Thailand, KW Vietnam, KW Indonesia, KW Philippines, the KW Asia family. So thank you very much for joining us today. We are indeed a big global family together, and this is the crisis where it brings all of us together. So thank you very much. So Wing, Take us away for a Power Pack 2-hour session. Back to you, Wing.
All right, just give me a moment to share the screen. Okay, can you all see the screen?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. Now, when Jonathan Lee asked me to do this, I didn't know that there's actually international delegate. But I believe the second part, what I'm doing today, I believe it's applicable to everyone, no matter where you are. Because the second part, as you can see, it's really focused towards what we can do as an individual. So it should be relevant for everybody. So for this part 2, what I will be doing is a success formula in 2020, and then also a journey of a new rent. Now, I was supposed to do this, but I believe Jonathan Lee has already helped me do it. All right, so I see a lot of yes just now when he asked who attended this morning session. So basically, it's a continuation from this morning. All right, I do a quick recap on where I ended this morning. So before I ended, I actually brought up these 3 different scenarios and asked how much commission you have earned. All right, this is the project, 5%. How much commission do you earn? Let's say you got this friend who want to buy a house. How much commission do you earn? Now, I ended the presentation saying that the commission based on the 3 scenarios just now, it's all zero. It's all zero. So this is where I will be continuing from. So why I mentioned zero just now is the myth number 2 is you don't actually earn the commission until you complete the transaction. All right, this is very important. You don't earn the commission until you complete the transaction. Now, this is the definition of the estate agency transaction just now. A quick recap is that a transaction is the time of granting instruction to the estate agent to the point in time where the sale or purchase or letting is concluded. Now, you see this one statement, if you transfer it to a diagram, this is how it's going to look like. All right, if you transfer that 7 statement into a diagram, it actually becomes a 7-step cycle. For a complete transaction, you need to go through this entire cycle. All right, this entire cycle. Missing any of these steps will mean that the transaction will be aborted. Now, you can never complete the cycle by skipping any of the steps. However, these steps can either be completed by you alone or together with someone else. But all the steps must be completed. So if you see what are these steps are, number 1 is prospecting, whereby you need to source for owner who want to sell a house. Listing is when you meet the owner to do inspection, get the authorization to sell sign. After that, you got to start marketing the listing. You got to start marketing the listing. You will generate call inquiry. Then you need to answer the call inquiry, motivate that buyer to come and see the house. And after seeing the house, if they are interested, then you need to get them to offer. And once they offer, you need to bring the offer to the owner for acceptance. And once the owner accepts, you move to the closing part is when you need to work on the housing loan and also the sales and purchase agreement. All right. Now, I believe this cycle, no matter where you are, it should be applicable. So basically, this is the whole cycle, and for in order for you to earn the commission, you need to complete this whole cycle. All right, there is no exception. Now, the beauty of this cycle is that what needs to be done will not change. All right. Now, what you need to do in this cycle, it will not change. Now, I dare to say from the David Ong days to now to 20, 30, 50 years down the road, what you need to do in this cycle, it will not change. Okay? Then the question is that, then what changed? Because we always say the only constant is change, right? Now, what you do didn't change. But there is another important element change, which is how you do it change. Now, let me repeat myself. What you need to do will not change. However, how you do it will change. And I I'm confident to say that when every time when a market shift, how you do it will always change. Now, before I elaborate a little bit further, I saw an interesting infographic from the Star website yesterday, all right, which I will put it over here. Now, this is very interesting because this article basically states that what are the changes in consumer behavior after COVID-19, all right? Now, of course, you might think that based on the headline, it's not relevant to real estate, but just give a moment to ponder. COVID-19 has changed how people live. It has changed how people work. It has also changed how people communicate. So indirectly, what it has done is it has actually shifted the eyeball of the people. For example, in this article, what it mentioned is that over here, people travel less. All right, they expect that there's a 51% decline in shopping mall footfall. So which means that moving forward, we can forget about our roadshow. All right. And the second thing is you see this online streaming and also shop online. You can see that there is an increase. So you can see people are going online. So do you think you need to increase your online presence moving forward? Now, the next thing is, now with all these changes in consumer behavior, what it states next is, what does this mean to our brand? Now, it basically says that, you see, we need to readapt our communication messaging. We need to reimagine consumer motivation and path to purchase. And also, we need to review the current media mix and spend. Now, if I elaborate a little bit more, basically, this part is basically telling you that the way how you communicate with the client moving forward, it will be different. This part is basically telling you that, you know, how the buying and the selling process moving forward, the flow could be a little bit different. Now, what you want to achieve at the end is still the same, but the flow of your presentation, it might need to change. And finally, this basically states that moving forward, your marketing campaigns we all need to revisit it all over again. Okay? And then it continued to even say that the rule of thumb in about taking active steps in time of crisis is to form stronger connection with consumer. So you see that first we need to acknowledge, express empathy to those affected, that that we are there, we are still there, all right? Acknowledge and empathize with them. And next, we've got to give them the assurance that we are always there to serve their real estate needs. And finally, you see the access path, we need to revisit the consumer path to ensure uninterrupted conversion. All right, so that is, I need to re-emphasize here is that how we do things is not going to be the same after COVID-19. Now, if you're hoping that things will go back to normal, I am pretty sure it will not, okay? Now, this is a diagram with I showed this morning as well. Now, the reason why I pull this back up is because I want to illustrate a little bit more about what I meant earlier by what we need to do will not change, but how we do it change. Now, for those who has already in doing real estate back in 2011, all right, back in 2011, which is over here. Now, do you still remember how you market your listing back in 2011 and now? Is it still the same? Now, you got to remember is that what you are doing is basically marketing your listing. What you are doing is still the same. But how you do it, I believe, is not the same. Right? Yeah, I see some saying that there is a big change. Now, another example. Imagine how you talk to your buyer in 2011 and compare it to today. Is it still the same? Now, for those who is not in this real estate industry yet, back in 2011, you will tell your buyer, you want to buy or not. If you want, you give a check now, right? If you don't give me a check, right, my next buyer is, the next appointment is half an hour later. All right. But can you imagine now? Now you have got to get on your knees to get your buyers to give you the booking, right or no? And the last illustration is 2011. Remember how you communicate with the owner? The owner will be telling you, if you don't get me the price I want, don't come and see me, right? Those were the days. But nowadays it's very different. Owner will be calling you almost every other day, asking you if you have got the buyer. All right. So just imagine if you are still using the same method and apply it in today's market, my worry is that it does not apply anymore. So which is why what I hope to accomplish in today's session is also to at least trigger your thinking thoughts, revisit how you are carrying out your real estate activity, and to instill some important elements which to me is very important for this year. So that is what I'm going to achieve in this afternoon session. 4 success formula in 2020. Now, still remember the cycle, the 7th cycle I mentioned earlier. So what I did is I actually added this triangle, which I call it the 4 important formula for 2020. Now, why I put this triangle in the middle of this cycle is because to me, this triangle will pull your circle stronger together. It will hold the cycle tighter. Okay, number 1. So real estate success formula number 1 is skill. Now remember, every step in the process involves skill. Like how you source for the seller involves skill, how you do inspection involves skill, how you advertise also involves skill. So for today's presentation, all right, I will only focus the skill into 2 parts, all right, into 2 parts. So the first part that I will be focusing on is over here. How you use your skill in using the marketing tool. Now, what is the objective of marketing? Is to generate lead. All right, I believe over the last few years, you have heard a lot about lead generation. The objective of lead generation is to generate call inquiry. Yeah, if you have attended the virtual trainings the last few days, I believe you have heard this word many times. Now, of course, there are many tools that are being used for lead generation. The example that I pick is so that I can easily illustrate to you how the importance of enhancing your skill in using the tool. Now, before I go into to show you some of the tools, a very classic example that I always use is this. Now, just imagine a knife. If you give it to a murderer, he will use the knife to go and kill people. If you give a knife to a chef, this chef will use a knife to cook out delicious meal. All right, you see, at the end of the day, it's the same tool. So what is the difference is how you and me is actually using the tool that would make the difference. All right. So the first tool I want to talk about is a tool that everybody knows. Now, this is a very simple tool. I believe everybody has used before as well. Okay, I didn't know that there's international delegate. Now, this SMS is in Malay because this is actually a SMS which we really sent previously. All right. So you can see SMS has its limitation. Now, SMS limitation is there's limited character, no image, no video, and most importantly, we do not know how many people will actually read our SMS, right or no? Now, what if I've got a solution that would fix all these limitations, right? So it's how you enhance your skill. Now, if you do this, you just enhance your skill. Now, what you do is you add a bit.ly link into your SMS. That would address all the limitations which I mentioned earlier. Now, with this approach, you can write, what you do with this link is basically you direct the people that you reach out through SMS to a landing page or to a sales page, or if you cannot create a website, to a Google form. All right. So in that Google form, you can write a long sales copy, add unlimited image, you can put in video, and best of all, you can actually track how many people actually read your SMS. So you see now, if you up your skill in using the tool, it could produce a very different result altogether. You see the point? I always hear people complain about the ineffectiveness of the tool, but there are also others is using the same tool and thriving with it. So it is not the tool, but instead you and me who use the tool that would make the difference. Now the next tool I want to share is, this is a very interesting tool. Now we have been using this tool since 2013 till today. Now how we use this tool the day we began till today is totally different. Facebook itself has changed the algorithm on how things work many times. When we started, it was very cheap. We were just using images to hard sell in Facebook. We were responding to PMs so many hours a day. However, the tool has changed so much today. Today is about content marketing. Today is about video marketing. It's about creating value to the people, build up your followers before you can sell to them. Right, today is not about placing one Facebook ads. Today is about placing a Facebook campaign with multiple Facebook ads. So you can see the things has changed so much, but it's just the same tool, okay? Now, this is our Facebook dashboard for December. Now, it might not make sense to a lot of people. I've summarized this into a table. All right, so for the month of December, what we did receive is a total of 201 leads. 145 is captured in Facebook, and the other 56 is captured through WhatsApp in our phone. So for December 2019, we have 200 leads. Average cost per lead is 10 ringgit. So we spent a total of 1,900 ringgit. Now, for the month of December, we sold 5 units through Facebook. Our potential gross commission is 130,000. Now, if you were to calculate the ROI from our Facebook marketing, it is 6,600% in a particular month. Now, do you see the ROI from Facebook marketing? Now, if you don't understand what is 6,600% return a month, what it meant is that for December, we gave Facebook 1 ringgit. And in return, in that month itself, we get 66 ringgit back in just a month. Now tell me what other investment that you are investing right now is able to give you that sort of return. Now just imagine if you put 100 ringgit into FD, at the end of the year, you only get 3 ringgit. Right? Now, if you are a real estate property, if you buy a property based on historical data, it takes 10 years before the property value actually doubled. So in this particular case, we put 1 ringgit into Facebook and we get 66 back within a month. Now, I also want to take this opportunity to correct certain perception that some of y'all might have on Facebook. All right. Number one, Facebook only help you to lead generate. It doesn't help you to sell. And number two, not all Facebook lead will buy from you. This is because previously there was one rant who asked me why the Facebook leads I passed to him to follow up. He asked me why the FB lead didn't buy. All right, when he asked me this question, I was dumbfounded for a moment. And also look at the number of leads. We have a total of 201 leads. At the end of the month, we only closed 5 units. So you see the ratio in between. Once we collected the lead to closing, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. All right. And number 4, yes, Facebook marketing involves money, but the thing here is that you can start small and then scale it up accordingly. Now, this is January 2020. Same thing, I summarize it into a table as well. For January 2020, it was Chinese New Year. So we collected a total of 84 leads, 26 from the lead form, and then another 58 from the WhatsApp in the phone. Now, why you can see there is a change is because we can change how we want to capture leads. Because Chinese New Year, we were away, so I changed the method how we capture the leads. The average cost is 12 ringgit. So total, it costs us about 1,001. We sold 5 units, potential commission 115,000. So you can see in that particular month, our return is actually 10,000%, which means that in that particular month, I give Facebook 1 ringgit, I got back 100 ringgit in return in just a month. Now, of course, I am here, I'm not going to show you how I actually do Facebook marketing, but I'll share with you 2 secrets on how you can learn how to do Facebook marketing, okay? Now, the first is this. Now, have you ever seen how your competitor actually put up their Facebook advertisement? Now, actually in Facebook, there is no secret, okay? Now, if you go to this website, facebook.com/ads/library, you can see all the Facebook advertisement that anybody is running in the world right now. Even you can see what Facebook that Donald Trump is running, McDonald's is running, KFC is running, Nike is running. You can use this web page and see what are all the advertisements your other people are running. So for our case, you go and observe and see what are your competitor actually running the Facebook ads. Secondly, of course, there is a lot of Facebook guru out there that charge you hundreds and thousands just to teach you how to do Facebook advertisement. But do you all know that in this webpage, facebook.com/blueprint, Facebook actually put in a very comprehensive training course. Now, who else besides Facebook is the best person to teach you how to run FB ads? So if you want to know how to run FB ads, you can just go to this blueprint page. There is videos that will teach you how to run Facebook ads. All right. So if further you want to find out further Facebook thingy, I think this is the 2 places that you should go and visit. So I actually updated this slide with, this is our Facebook marketing for March 2020. So this is what happened. So again, similarly, I summarize it into a table. So you can see for the March 2020, we total collected 217 leads, 159 through the lead capture form, and then another 58 directly to my phone. So the average cost you can see has gone up to about 26 ringgit. So we spent a total of 5,600 ringgit. And for the month of March, we closed 7 units, potential commission 184,000 ringgit. So you can see our return, although it's not that significant, but it's still 3,200% in that particular month. Now you can see in March, I give Facebook 1 ringgit and we got 32 ringgit in return. Now, of course, like I said just now, it is less, but you got to remember the month of March, we only work 2 days. We work first half and then the MCO, the second half. So, and in that 2 weeks, we actually closed 7 units already. So March was actually a very good month for us until MCO hit us. But when MCO started, what we actually did was, we actually took this opportunity to double up on our advertisement costs, which is why you can see in March alone, we spend so much more because we think that during this particular period is the best time for us to double up our lead generation. And that is what we did. So once the MCO is lifted, we already have potential buyers lining up to view the show unit. Now, if you have been attending our virtual training, I believe you have heard about the word model and system on many occasions. So with this, I would like to tie it back to one of the KW model, which is the budget model. Now, KW budget model says that your budget model minimizes your expenses to maximize your net income. Now, a lot of RAN don't realize the fact that budget is a powerful financial planning tool. They view the money they spend as expense. Instead, it should be the cost of doing business. Therefore, a lot of times they're scared to spend the money because to them it is an expense. However, the millionaire real estate agent model teaches us that to see that every dollar we spend as an investment into the future. So for every ringgit invested into our business, you need to make sure that you receive multiple ringgit back. Remember, ringgit for ringgit is not enough. Now, if you were to invest a ringgit and get only a ringgit back, why would you want to go to the trouble spending that money at the first place? So keep that ringgit and save the time instead. However, if you can get multiple ringgit in return for a ringgit investment, then you know you are in for a good investment. So there are 3 key focus areas in the budget model. One is you need to lead with revenue. 2, you need to play red light and green light. And number 3 is you need to stick to the budget. So did you see when we do our Facebook marketing, we had all this in place? Now the model also asks us to make money before we spend it. So the key to budgeting and spending is to subscribe to one critical discipline. Lead with revenue and not the expense. So the basic idea here is to try to only spend money that your business will grow. Or put it that make the money first before you spend it. Now, rent that successfully minimize their starting costs and debt before they start and the ability to generate revenue quickly has a much better chance of survival. And this is more so true moving forward after COVID-19. So start with a small investment. You can generate revenue in your real estate sales business and then reinvest the money back into your business for further growth. Number 2, rent should not also concern too much about how much money you are spending, but instead compare it with the results you are getting. It is not spending the money that is the problem. The problem is getting the result you want from the money you spend. That is important. Which is why KW budget model, there is this thing called play the read light and the grid light. So after investing the money, and if you are not getting the result you want, then you should just stop it, reevaluate the money you spend. However, after investing the money and you are getting the result you want, then you should continue and even think about how to scaling it up. So this is how the red light and the green light works. So for our Facebook advertisement investment, is it green light or red light? So this is also why you see we continue to invest so much into Facebook advertisement, because every ringgit that we are putting in, we are getting multiple ringgit back in return. On top of that, we are also building up our database for future use. Remember, when the tool doesn't work for you, is it the tool problem or the skill problem? All right. So which is why the whole purpose why I'm doing this is I want everybody to, every time when you use a tool, you are not getting the result, instead of blaming it on the tool, first ask yourself, are you using the tool correctly or not? Okay, the next tool that I want to share now, this web portal didn't pay me any money to do this. Now, why I'm sharing this is because end of March, I basically renew my account. So I just renew my iProperty account. The cheapest package is 1,820 a year. All right, like I say, they don't pay me money to do this. Now, it's just because I just renew it, I know the price. And I always hear rent complaining that web portal is not useful anymore. All right, you spend so much money, but there is no call inquiry. Right, I believe you would have heard from a lot of people. Now, the thing is this. Now, if you look at this, the cost is 1,800 a year. Now, if you just target to sell one unit with a GCI of 20,000, your return is 1,100 a year. Now, which means that if you give iProperty 1 ringgit, at the end of the day, you will get back 11 ringgit by just selling one unit with a gross commission of 20,000. Is it green light or red light? Right, I have seen rent who through property web portal is able to generate GCI of 500,000. Now, of course, similar to other tools, there are skills involved in using this tool. Many times when I hear rent complain that there's no inquiry, is because they use the tool wrongly. Now, I will show you the budget model above the web portal. I'll illustrate 2 scenarios for you, how you can use this web portal. Scenario number 1, assuming you sign up for this basic package, you upload all the listing you have into the iProperty account, and then you can only feature a few ads because you upload so many advertisements you cannot re-advertise. Now, this is the first scenario. Now, what if you use the tool a little bit differently? Scenario number 2, you only upload a few good listings you have into your iProperty account. You featured that one listing and keep re-advertising it every day and making sure that it is always at the front of the page. Now, based on this scenario, which do you think would produce the result? Now, of course, like I always say, there's no right or wrong, but I want to re-emphasize here is you need to relook at how you are using the tool. You need to enhance your skill and apply the budget model. Right? Yeah, I see some like, yeah, what some comment I see is that, yeah, you just need to do one sale and you will get back your web portal investment. All right, so which to me, all this lead generation investment to me is generate a lot more return as compared to other type of investment. Now, of course, this is I extracted from KW training material. So there's a lot more tools that you can use out there. So what I want to say here is that you just need to pick one or two and be very good at it. All right, just pick one or two and be very good at it. Make sure your skill is at the best level. And when that happens, I strongly believe that you would achieve a very good result. Okay, now, just now I was focusing skill on marketing tool. Now I want to focus, I still in skill, but now I want to focus on people. Now, as you all know, we are in the people business. Now, in this whole cycle, there is two main parts that involve dealing with people directly, which is the listing and also viewing. All right, these two parts we need to deal directly with people. Right, this is when every one of us would need to be talking to the owner to get the listing, or talking to the buyer to get the talking to the buyer to view the unit. Now, there are different skill sets when dealing with people. Now, this is how I put it. Now, I believe the lowest level is selling, whereby you just hard sell your service when you meet the owner. You tell the owner that you are the best agent in town. And when you meet your buyer, you tell the buyer the every unit that you are selling is the best unit on the market. Now, do you still remember those days? Now, this, of course, I know is already outdated. I hope nobody is doing this anymore. All right. Now, the next phase later part was what I called propose. The next level is propose. Propose is basically first you do a KYC, you know your client, you find out their needs. For example, when you meet owner, you need to find out why they are selling. When you meet buyer, you also need to find out where they want to buy, the type of property they want to buy, and also the budget. So that later part, then only you can propose your service or unit to them accordingly. Now, for propose, once done, you will tell them that these are your options and you will let them decide themselves. Now, remember those days where you show your buyer a few units based on all their preference, but at the end of the day, they still cannot decide which to go for. Anybody has got this problem or you face this problem? Now, this is the short form when you propose, which is why moving forward, you not only need to propose, you need to move to the next level, which is what I call you need to influence. The highest level is influence. Now, it is similar to propose, but the only difference is that instead of just showing them all the options and let them decide, what you have got to do now is you make the decision for them and influence them that this is the best option for them. Now, this is what we have been practicing, and which is why we can close sales in 1 to 2 viewing most of the time. And if you deploy this influencing skill, you would cut down a lot of your viewing time. All right. So which is why this is why I named the platform as ACE, because I want everybody in the team to first analyze your client's needs, consult them, propose them what are the options that they have, and empower them to make the decision which is the best for them. Which is why I named the platform as ACE, because I believe by deploying this strategy, they will be able to become an ACE agent. So the myth number 3 that I want to address here is that you don't actually sell property. You need to influence the client. All right, you don't sell, you got to influence. Now, the second real estate success formula that I want to cover is knowledge. I also put it at the bottom of the triangle together with the skill. Now, with the advancement of technology, our clients, doesn't matter if it is buyer or seller, they are getting more knowledgeable. They are getting more knowledgeable. If your client is more knowledgeable than you in the real estate topic, then I'm quite sure that it will be very difficult for you to close that sales. So for today's session, I want to focus the knowledge only on two parts, which is on offer and also closing. Like I say, every aspect over here involves skill and knowledge, but because got limited time, so in today, I just want to focus the knowledge into offer and closing. Now, offer is the stage where you receive an offer from the buyer and present it to the owner. Now, it is also the stage where you need to negotiate the terms and conditions to get both parties to agree and make the deal happen. Moving forward with the latest shift, I believe it will be even more important. Why? This is because, number one, buyers are tighter in terms of resources. And number two, buyers are also harder to get. So it is even more critical for us to design a win-win deal which can get both the buyer and the seller to agree on. Now take another example. During the loan application, which is the closing part. Now I've shared in the earlier session that based on the trend, the approval rate is about 50%. Now, do you know at hand, actually, we like to do government loan as because once they are eligible for that amount, most likely, right, they will get that loan. So for now, we actually love government servant. However, for bank loan application, there are so many different cases that we encounter, all right? There are not many straightforward cases nowadays. For those simpler case, we need to help them to find whether their parents or their spouse to be a co-applicant. And sometimes we also need to educate them on how to reduce their commitment in order for their DSR to comply. Right, this to me is a very simple case. Now to one of the most complicated that we are handling now, whereby we first need to help the client to perform debt consolidation to settle off close to 100,000 of personal loan. And on top of that, we need to help him cash out 15,000 for down payment. So few days ago, this client debt consolidation has already approved, all right? So you can see in the process, we help client to reduce their monthly commitment by more than 3,000, which then he can use this buffer to apply for the new loan for the new purchase that he bought from us. So you see, if you do not have relevant knowledge, you would not have gotten the deal done. Yes, you can see that there are bankers, there are lawyers out there who would help us to address these things. But you also need to remember that they are not with you when you negotiate the offer. So if you are not able to get these things done, your buyer and your owner would not sign on the booking form or on the contract. So by the time you get hold of your banker, your lawyer, your client could have changed mind. So we need to we need to remember there is banker and lawyer is our business partner, but you are long enough in this industry, you also know that both of them could be a pain in the ass for us. Try working with the wrong banker and lawyer and see how many sleepless nights you will have after that. So which is why the bad news is these are all the knowledge you need to build. Real estate knowledge, marketing knowledge, financial banking knowledge, legal and law knowledge. Now, of course, I understand it will take time to build, but at the end of the day, you need to build. The good news is that you don't have to master it. You don't have to master it. You just need to know the foundation so that you could do the initial design of the deal, address your client's concern, and get them to the sign on the contract or on the booking form. All right. So at the end of the day, you don't have to master the knowledge, but you have got to address the concern. So you need to have certain level of knowledge to address their concern. Which is why myth number 4, you don't sell property, you sell knowledge. All right, you don't sell property, but you sell knowledge. Success formula number 3, focus. I did mention this morning as well. Now, my question now is, have you heard of the term like GPS, 135 and 411? All right, if you have heard before, you can reply yes in the chat box. And if no, then you just reply no. Oh, I got no. All right. Now, for those who have been attending some of our virtual trainings before this, you would have heard of these terms. For those who actually reply no, you don't have to worry. You can speak to any of the KW agents or the person who actually refer you to attend this training. He or she can briefly tell you what are all these GPS 135 and also 411. Okay. So which is why now I move to the next item, which is focus. Now you can see I put focus sitting on top of skill and knowledge, because after you have the right skill and knowledge, the next thing you need to have is you need to focus. Now, before I review our ACE platform business plan, now let me revisit another KW model, which is called the economic model. Now, there are 3 areas where you should be focusing on in the economic model. All right. Number 1 is the critical level of your business. Number 2, which is your appointment. And number 3, which is on your conversion rate. Now, what do you mean by critical level of your business? Now, the first thing in the cycle is to meet owner and get listing, right? So your first conversation is your listing appointment. How many appointments you meet owner for inspection, and how many of that you successfully get the listing. That is the listing taken. The third conversation is closing. How many of the listing that you obtain which are successfully sold? So each of the closing at the end of the day would lead directly to your GCI. So the fourth conversation is profit, whereby you take your GCI that you make, you minus off with your cost of sales and your expense, and finally that would be your net profit that would go into your bank account. So this is the economic model from KW, the critical levels. The next is focus on appointments. Now you got to remember that nothing will happen without an appointment. So there is a definite beginning and end to the economic model. Your end is the net income that you receive after deducting the cost of sales from the expense from your GCI. So you need to keep track of the appointments that you have. How many seller listing appointments you have, how many buyer listing appointments that you have. Right? So that is the next thing that you need to track. And of course, the third one is your conversion rate. Now, this conversion rate, I did tweak it a little bit because I do project marketing. So for project marketing, I only focus on the buyer side. All right. So you can see in this blue box, actually, I tweak a little bit. It's also conversion rate, but I changed the conversion rate and track these items instead. So I track based on the number of SPA that I need to sell. What is the bookings that I need to have, the conversion from booking to actual sales, and also the appointments to actual booking. So this is the 2 conversion ratios which I focus on. So looking at the economic model, this is our business model that I have for the ACE platform. So you can see my goal is 2 million. 2 million GCI for the whole platform. So assuming that each unit, the average GCI is 23,000. So I'm able to know that in order for me to hit the 2 million GCI, I need to have 87 units to sign SPA. And assuming the conversion ratio from booking to SPA is 70%, so I need 724 bookings. And using the appointment ratio, I need to have 497 appointments. So you see, if I summarize the whole thing, based on just the 2 million GCI that I want to achieve, now I know I need to have 497 appointments, 124 bookings, and convert it to 87 SPA. And if I'm able to do this, I would achieve the target of 2 million. Now the bottom table, what I did is I just took the yearly goal, I just change it into per month so that I can track it on a monthly basis. All right. So you can see we have a plan, a very clear plan based on the numbers that we need to hit. So when I mention focus, so what we focus on is just solely based on this plan. So what we do every day is to focus and achieve these numbers. Now, before I elaborate further on our business plan, let me quickly share a slide that we have, which is from the lead generation model. Now, the lead generation model is a lot more complicated, but for this session, I just want to highlight just a small point in this whole model. So KW model mentioned that in our database, there are two types of people. One is the met database, and the other one is the haven't met. So one is the met database, the other one is the haven't met. Now, met is basically people that you have personally met before. As for haven't met, is basically people who has responded to your marketing advertisement, but you haven't met previously. So what this model tells us is that in our met database, if we perform this 8x8, 33 touch point, our conversion ratio is 12:2, which means that 12 person in your met database, at the end of the day, you will generate one sales from them, and another sales would be a buyer that will be referred by your met database. Okay? And as for the haven't met database, if you perform a 12 direct, at the end of the day, your conversion ratio is 50:1. So if your haven't met database is 50, at the end of the day, one of them will buy from you. So based on this information, I go back to my business plan, all right? So in order for me to achieve this 124 booking, so now I need to determine how big of a database I need to have, all right? So assuming that to achieve this 124 bookings, 50% will come from the met database and 50% will come from the haven't met database. Now I know I need to, this is the size of the database that I need to have. I need to know that I need to have 373 met database and a 3,100 haven't met database. Now, all this is all I need to have in order to achieve my 2 million. Now you see the difference. Besides having just a GCI of 2 million, now I've got on paper clearly stated what I need to do. So with that, I can very much focus into these items only, and I'm able to track it on a monthly basis. Yeah. So based on this business plan, later I convert all this into another tool called 135. Now, in here, basically, it will state our 1 goal, 3 priority, and also 5 strategy, or also known as the GPS. So you can see here, it clearly identifies what is our goal. And this is our priority. Priority number 1 is to schedule 500 appointments. Priority number 2 is to do lead generation. And this is priority number 3, whereby I need to do recruitment and training and retention. So if you focus, if you see our priority 1 and 2, priority 1, in order to achieve 497 appointments, 124 bookings, we need to do this 8x8 and 33 touch point to our MET database. And I also need to enhance the skill of the RAN in order to have a better success ratio. And next, you see, this is our lead generation to build our haven't met database. We know we need 3,100. So you can see I broke it down further to social media, property, web portal, cold calling, forums, roadshow. Now you can see it's not complete. It's not complete, but at least I have got something in there. So what we are doing on a daily basis is every day looking at these action plans and focus into carrying these action plans only. This is what we do. Like what Gary Keller mentioned, if you do not have a business plan on a piece of paper, then that is not a business plan. All right. So now some people might ask me, what if I get something which is not in this piece of paper? Someone asked me to do something else. So if it is not important to my business, so what I will do is I will KIV those items. All right. Now you can see I got a business plan. What next is with a business plan and sticking to it, we are able to track our result. Now, so far, this is our result from September 2019 to March 2020. You can see the blue bar is actually the bookings that we have done. The green bar is actually sales that is converted to SPA. Okay, so you can see 4 of the months we are actually able to hit the target. So if I summarize it up, so our performance till March is that in terms of booking, we are 107% of the target. So we are ahead of target. Whereas in terms of SPA sign, we are right now at 48%. However, what is important here is I know that I still got a pipeline of another 35%, which is still pending loan application. So if out of this 35%, I've got another 22% converted to SPA. If I add it with 48, at least I got 70% of my target. So looking at the current situation, at 70% in terms of SPA, I think we are still in a very good shape. All right. So which is why during this period, the MCO period, we are actually not too worried. We are not too worried. We are still focusing on our original plan because we believe we can still achieve our target. And finally, the success formula number 4 and the last one is discipline. Now you can see I put discipline as at the top of the triangle. Now why I do this is if you got the right skill and the right knowledge, if you don't focus, it will break. So you need to focus. Now after you have got your business plan and if you focus, if you do not have the discipline to carry out your business plan, everything will break. All right. So to me, discipline is very self-explanatory. All right. But it's the hardest to execute. It is based on my experience, based on what my observation, discipline is the hardest to execute because many RAN actually fail this. Imagine you have all the best skill and all the knowledge and carry out real estate transaction, have the best business plan to focus on. If you do not have the discipline to execute it, all the things will break. All right, all the things will break. Which is why at the end of the day, success formula number 4 is discipline. As you can see here, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Okay. Okay, now this is the ACE platform. Now finally, KW has got another model, which is called the organizational model. Now we didn't really follow exactly the model when we set up our ACE platform. Now we currently have a total of 11 persons in the team. Our model is very much flat, whereby the whole platform is led by myself and Vivian, and all the rest at the moment, they are all our buyer agent. All right, so our team right now is 11 persons. Now, some of the stories I want to share here is that Now, in the month of March, we actually have got two new rents that actually joined us, Christine Lu and also Andrew Chiok. They attended the NCC last month, the 3rd of March and also the 4th of March. Now, after they attend the NCC, both of them managed to close their first deal in project marketing in less than 2 weeks. Now, I want to remind everybody here is that both of them do not have any prior knowledge, and also experience in real estate. And both of them actually transact a property value of around the 1 million property value. All right. So if you are following the right model and if you are doing the right things, I believe you will be able to see immediate result very fast. Okay, so I have reached the next part is now is also a time where I want to introduce another rent. Her name is Reed. You can see her rent number is 30122. So she joined real estate 2 years ago. She joined ACE in October 2018. She attended NCC in November 2018. Now, some of the records she holds for so far for now for a project is that she is able to sell 40 units in 10 months for one particular project. And also in December 2019, which is a holiday month, she actually did 10.5 units in December 2019. And so far her GCI for this project is close to 400,000. All right. So which is why I think for today's presentation, which is why I get her to share her story as well, to listen from the perspective of a new rent, how she started and how she able to quickly establish herself in real estate. Right, Rin, are you there? Rin?
Okay.
Right.
Boleh dengar?
Yes, okay. The floor is yours.
Okay. Hai, saya Rin. Saya join real estate 2018 Oktober. Tahun ini merupakan tahun pertama, tahun kedua saya join dalam real estate. Sebelum masuk real estate, saya bekerja dalam bidang logistik selama 6 tahun. Jadi lepas 6 tahun dalam bidang logistik ni ada antara sebab big why yang sangat besar yang bawa saya join dalam bidang real estate. Antara big why yang saya ada lebih kurang anak ada kena rawatan and then I kena cari the more income yang lebih stable, and then family business close, and then kita kena cari jalan untuk pada selama ni I dah kerja 6 tahun. Jadi bila kita kerja, kita ada job scope 1-2 and then hujung bulan dapat gaji, tapi income you tetap itu saja. Jadi kalau you masuk dengan bidang ni, this one semuanya bergantung dengan usaha kerja keras you sendiri. And then untuk this one, masa permulaan Din masuk November 2018 ni, Din mengalami kesukaran yang sangat besar sebab masa tu kita tak ada KW model. Jadi Din tak ada tempat nak refer, so Din tak tahu macam mana nak buat prospecting, macam mana nak buat marketing. And then Din masuk tu dalam 5 months untuk Din capai momentum. For the first case 1 month tu during that masa Chinese New Year, tak ada seorang pun rent yang nak join Din masa this one, sebab masa tu positive mindset masing-masing. Cuma fikir klien tak nak pun datang, kalau ada appointment pun cancel, dan tak ada orang nak kerja. Jadi untuk this one, Din grab this opportunity. Din tetap juga buat call calling, Din terus juga buat untuk prospecting. Jadi for the result yang Din dapat close for the first project Vivian dengan Wing masa Din join, lebih kurang 5 unit kita close dalam 1 bulan yang sama. Jadi untuk this one, during that 5 month, Din tercari-cari juga masa tu formular yang betul. Jadi Rin masa tu during that 5 month tu, Rin lucky sebab Rin ada Vivian dengan Wing yang sentiasa tunjuk ajarin. Jadi Rin memang tak ada knowledge langsung, Rin memang dalam bidang sales memang Rin zero knowledge. So Rin tak ada background apa-apa dokumen, actually flow jual beli sewa rumah pun memang Rin tak tahu. Jadi this one Wing dengan Vivian banyak tolong Rin lah, this one. Jadi untuk I nampak sekarang neuron yang baru join, mereka lebih beruntung sebab kita ada KW training, ada tempat nak refer, and then kita ada coach, tempat untuk kita refer, right? And then kalau untuk time that sebelum Rin buat ni, Rin join masa sebelum ada KW model, untuk cari leads ni Rin kena pergi buat roadshow. Rin buat dekat, Rin tak pernah limit opportunity walaupun Rin buat seorang-seorang. Rin join roadshow, Rin buat juga dekat pasar tani ke, letak flyer kat parking ke. This one Rin memang buat walaupun seorang-seorang pun Rin tetap buat sebab Rin nak penuhkan database. And then bila Rin join roadshow, dekat situ Rin belajar how to approach the people. And then lagi satu masa Rin enter SEC, Jonathan ni pernah sebut lah, this one bila kita didn't ask, didn't get. So ayat tu pun Rin ada guna juga. Betul, kalau kita tak tanya orang, kita pun tak tahu orang tu nak cari rumah ke, macam mana nak propose people ke. So this one antara yang Rin start lah. Jadi untuk yang this one during that masa tahun lepas September, kita punya projek pun kekurangan orang. Masa tu KW baru kenal, and then tak ramai yang masa tu kita pun kekurangan manpower. Tapi I was lucky masa tu, Wing masa tu dia ajak I secara manual untuk buat 33 by touch, and then dia ajak I guna manual 135 goal, and then this one I buat time blocking dengan CGI guna manual. So this one masa tu Vivian pun masa tu ada masalah kesihatan. So masa tu kita orang dalam satu team tu kita ada 3 orang je. Tapi I tetap teruskan juga. Jadi untuk guna sistem KW sistem this one ni, so untuk new rank yang I nampak sekarang, bila mereka dah dapat leads ke, and then nak buat phone call pun ikut mood, and then mereka tak pernah appreciate cara macam mana nak tak perlu nak buat tenaga, habiskan tenaga nak dapatkan lead semua. And then this one mereka pun tak ada disiplin. Din sentiasa kalau macam Din join, dia akan jaga disiplin dengan komitmen. Apa aktiviti sampai sekarang yang Rin tak pernah stop, this one masa Rin sampai sekarang Rin tetap juga buat prospecting, marketing, walaupun macam sekarang orang tetap juga cakap during the MCO, kalau you nampak iklan people dekat FB ke apa, mereka akan cakap musim-musim MCO ni mana ada orang nak beli rumah, semua orang fikir lain apa semua. Tak. Jadi masa kita buat advertising pun still ada leads, ada request, ada tanya, and then this one time Rin grab the opportunity. Sama juga macam tahun lepas December. Jadi Rin masa tu Rin kerja, and then Rin tetap juga teruskan. Masa tu ramai orang cakap, kenapa you nak kerja bulan 12? Bulan 12 ramai orang balik kampung, and then you take lah opportunity, you cuti ke apa. Jadi Rin selama Rin masa tahun ni, dalam tahun kedua ni Rin tak ada stop. Rin buat masa December tu, and then end up Rin guna 33 by touch, Rin guna balik sistem sampai kita rasa kita dah buat for the whole training yang Rin dah dapat, and then end up kita dapat the good result 10.5 unit. Rin pun sangat-sangat appreciate, sangat berpuas hatilah dengan apa yang kita ada sekarang. So this one I cuba nak cakap, kita kena ada positive mindset, and then don't let other people nak bagi kita negative things about it. Jadi untuk pada Rin, pada new Rin sekarang, jangan cepat putus asa, jangan bring the rejection had something untuk bawa kita down. Jadi sebab Rin sendiri pernah alami satu case, this one national football yang kebangsaan ni. So kita bawa dia sampai viewing 4-5 kali and then end up dari si borang semua last dia cancel. Jadi this one memang mula-mula kita frust, tapi jangan frust tak berapa, so you take kalau gagal cuba lagi. Jadi sekarang kita lagi better sebab kita ada sistem, kita ada training, everything. So jaga disiplin, bagi komitmen, end up chance untuk gagal tu pun kurang. Okay. Sorry ya, I cakap cepat sebab this is the first time I buat, so sorry.
Alright,
Okay.
thank you, Rin. Okay.
Sorry, Win, can I ask Rin one important question? I think it's a very
Yeah.
important question. Can I?
Go
Rin,
ahead.
thank you for sharing ya, Rin. Rin, I nak tanya Rin, apabila Rin tak berputus asa, apabila Rin, apakah motivasi dalam Rin untuk teruskan perjuangan ini? Apakah motivasi anda? Apabila anda go through challenges, go through tough time, what is that one thing? What is your big why that motivate you? Can you just share with all of us if you don't mind?
Oh, okay, kalau antara big one yang Rin tetap cekal juga buat walaupun masa tu Rin kena buat seorang, Rin lebih kurang Rin tak cukup manpower. This one yang Rin nampak dalam real estate ni, if you betul pengalaman ni sangat penting untuk keuntungan yang orang lain tak boleh ambil daripada you. Jadi you kena try semua. And then untuk this one, my big why pun agak besar sebenarnya sebab I kena untuk anak perempuan pun I kena cari for the method untuk solution dengan untuk bawa dia pergi rawatan dengan cepat. And then this one lagi I kena bantu family sebab during that the company close and then kita kena cari the more income lah. Jadi bila sebelum ni kita kerja memang limit income, and then this one kalau real estate lagi you kerja keras lagi banyak you dapat. Yeah.
So can I clarify that your big why is for your family?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your question. I don't know how many of you here on this call who's listening to that story, how many of you think that sharing is potentially changing the perspective of your life right now? Say yes. That her sharing is influencing you, is affecting your life. So Rin, I want to let you know you are a hero for today, for sharing your story, for fighting this battle, and we are all together with you. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to see and showcase the example that you are now influencing others as well. Thank you very much. Back to you, Rin.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me just share my okay. Yeah, so now of course I know Rin is not a speaker, so it's very hard for me to get her actually to do this section. But I'm also glad that when I asked her, she took up the challenge to do it. So I will display her. You can send a word of encouragement to her from the chat box. Also later when I display her phone number, you can actually text her a word of encouragement as well. Okay, because she took a lot of courage to do this session for all of y'all today. So the quick summary I want to do before I wrap up this whole session is that I promise 4 success formula for 2020. Number 1 is to master the skill. Number 2, you need to increase the knowledge. Number 3, stay focused. And number 4 is have the discipline to do it. Now, why? Because this year, I started this morning session and asked who hope and wish 2020 is going to be a better year. And I mentioned, I give those who say yes 3 words, God bless you, because I think 2020 is a year where you cannot wait. You cannot wait. You need to make it happen. You got to make it happen whatever it takes. So if you want to make 2020 a better year, this is what you have got to do. I would wrap up the presentation today by sharing our mission. Now, this is our KW mission. Our mission is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, life worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. Now, why I wanted to end this presentation with this mission is because I want everybody to remember here is that you are not here for one transaction, for two transactions. You're not here for 6 months. You're not here for 1 year or 2 years. Because at the end of the day, what you are here for is really building a career worth having, and also building a business, not only a normal business, but a business that you worth owning, whereby you can leave it to your legacy in the future. So you got to remember that this is our final mission at the end of the day. Okay. Now, as usual, like similarly to this morning session, now I'm not sure whether it's a good news or bad news. I did this the same this morning. I offer five places. End up I got 11. My initial intention is to offer total 20. Okay. So my initial intention is 5 in the morning, 15 in the afternoon. Right now, I already got 11 in the morning. So I will still open up. So for those who is interested, I say I don't do this anymore. For a 30 minutes consultation with myself personally, you can directly message me. This is our contact number, my number, Vivian, also Rin's number. These are our social media platforms. So you can follow and subscribe to them for our latest our latest news. All right. In terms of presentation, this is what I have, and I believe at the moment I will open it for Q&A.
Virtual support, can you check the previous questions? Because I know there were quite a few questions in the beginning of the session. Do you mind checking the questions? Or for the rest of the audience here, I'm sure you learned something today. If you want more clarity and more questions, can you please post it in the chat box so that we can have that conversation right now? And your questions do help answer other people's questions as well. So I will encourage you to find a way to draw this question. One thing I want to say, Wing, you actually bluffed all of us this morning. You told everybody this morning that you are not a motivated person.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you feel today, but I don't know. Tell me, type 1 if you are motivated today. Type 1, just type 1. There you go. So you didn't tell us the truth. Actually, you are a motivator by doing this presentation. I just want to show that. Just want to highlight that. I think all of us are pumped up and motivated to do more, and you show us opportunity to do more. There is a question there just now. Sorry, let's get that question.
There is a question from Joanne Ong,
Yeah.
who asked about clarifying the economic model and how you calculate the number of listing needed and the database needed to meet the 2 million target.
Yeah.
Or Jonathan, I think is the better person to answer.
I think you need to first find out your model. How much money you want to make. So very clear for the platform, and feel free to chip in here. Your platform, you are looking at 2 million GCI. Am I correct? If I forget it, right?
Yeah.
And how many units you need to hit that GCI? 87, am I right?
Right.
Because when I did a coaching session with Bing, because some of these agents, they get personal coaching time with me, he was one of the few that was so clear that I need 87, I need how many appointments, I need how many database or how many leads that will come in to give me that appointment and give me that sale. So in that perspective for your secondary market, it's the same thing. How many listings that you need to take in order for you to have enough inventory to offer to your clients? So assuming now you are taking 100 listings, and you're focusing, let's just say, in Subang Jaya, USJ, 1 to 5, just as an example. And you need 100 listings because generally you close about 20% of the listings. Now, pause here for a moment. If you do not know how many listings you have and what's your conversion rate of the listing you have, you've got to sit down and talk to someone and work with someone about this, because it is telling me and telling yourself that you don't know your numbers. So the first thing first, to strategically look at your business, is to sit down and think through how many listings you make. Now, for example, if you need to make 200,000 ringgit, for example, and the average commission per unit in that particular location, let's say is 10,000, meaning the average price is 500,000 at 2% commission. So in order for you to hit 200,000, how many units you must sell? Now, if you think that you need to sell 20 units or 10 units, or 20 units to give you 10,000 each, that's 200,000. These 20 units, how many listings must you have to have an 80-20 conversion or a 70-30 conversion? Because you cannot take 20 units listing from the market and sell 20 units, right? It doesn't make sense. So what's that conversion rate of that you need to have? So you need to think through of how much database you need, how much listings you need in order to fit your goal, right? So that's really based on skill, based on past track record, and also based on what's that minimum he hit. So for example, for Wing is very much clearer because can I know the average price of the property you put there already? So I forgot, Wing, what's the average price per unit?
23,000.
23,000. So he knows his average price per unit. So if you don't know the market, now this is what will be a problem for agents who are going to do 10 locations at one time. This will be a problem because you will be suddenly doing 1,000 ringgit rental, 2,000 ringgit rental, 500,000 sale, 200,000 sale, 1 million sale. You're going all over. It's very hard. So you're going to sit down with your coach, work on your 135. The 135 is what the foundation of the business plan is. Right? Who answer your question? What's the next question?
Okay, I will say out some questions for Wing. Yeah, from Madeline Mock earlier, she asked, Wing, do you have Facebook marketing data for sub-sales?
You mean now Facebook marketing? You got to look at it is a tool whereby where the eyeball is, and also it's a tool whereby you can reach out to them. So whether it's a primary market or secondary market, to me, if you ask me, it works. Now, how I use the tool right now is really solely for project marketing. So for secondary market, I haven't tried it before, but I actually have got ideas in mind. But you got to use the tool a little bit differently, but it's still in Facebook.
Yeah, I just give an example. Do you know who is the #1 person in the market selling secondary market on Facebook right now? You go check it out. I suspect it's some of the property portals that are advertising your listings on Facebook right now. Don't believe me? Go find out. They are advertising in a carousel format. I don't know, Wing, have you seen that before?
No, actually, a tip that many might not be aware. I believe you scroll your newsfeed, you see a lot of project marketing.
Yeah.
But have you seen a sub-sale advertisement before?
Yeah.
Do you see many? So I actually see a very big potential in sub-sale market. But of course, how you use the tool, it will be different.
Yeah, I think you will look at, if you need to be that particular specialization, there must be a focus, there must be a target audience, and you probably run a campaign. I had a privilege to speak to one agent called Danny Hampton in Dallas, Texas. And if you want to go check her out, you can go Facebook, check her, Danny Hampton. She's one of the agents in the market center, in the South Lake Market Center in Dallas. She 100% focus on secondary market, and she does everything on Facebook. All her leads come from Facebook and referrals that came from the leads. So it does work. It's just the question of how we work on it to get things done. There you go. What's the other question that we have?
Okay, another question from LV Ho. I think she asked you, do you advertise your Facebook ads with target advertisement based on location and age group, Wing?
Yes, I do. You know, like I say now, the one of the benefit of using Facebook is two things you need to know before you use Facebook. Number one is you need to know how you're going to capture your lead, And number two, you need to know who you want to target in terms of their location, in terms of their age, in terms of their relationship status, education level. So these are the things you need to at least have in mind. So like I always tell people, I even have got a video that says that if you don't have these two in mind, don't spend money on Facebook because you're going to waste your money.
Correct. Correct.
Very good. The following question is from May W. Okay, she asks, what do you think of buying more than one web portal, such as Property Guru, iProp, The Age, Muda, and using all of them versus just using one platform?
Now, at the end of the day, to answer that question is basically the budget model. It depends on how much money you have. Now, of course, I know not everybody can afford to have all the portal. But if let's say you made some money in the portal, so it is still green light for the portal, you continue running that portal, use a bit of money that you make from one portal and then invest into another portal. And if it works as well, then your business will grow. If any of the portal is not generating you the result then you want, means it's a red light, so then you stop using it. So at the end of the day, it's really your budget model on how much budget you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more questions that I missed out? That we missed out? Any more questions?
For now, I think that's all.
Yeah, a lot are just asking whether Wing can train people on Facebook marketing, but I think that's a whole nother topic lah.
Yeah, I think even before we go Facebook marketing, right? Really, I think those people, in my opinion, and Wing, you can chip in what I say is correct or not. Those people that are ready to work on Facebook marketing is when you are so clear. Your budget model is very clear, your lead generation model is very clear, your GPS is super clear, then that is when you should think about looking at the Facebook marketing, because you don't know what you're going to sell, you don't know what your audience is, you don't know who you're going to target, you don't know what speaks, what is the messaging that will speak to your audience. So unless you know, for example, if you know that you are going to be the expert in Mont Kiara, for example, and then you know how many units you need, you know all those things, you've got those economic model already, then the Facebook marketing becomes a tool that could potentially be utilized for your business. Correct me if I'm wrong, what do you think with that statement that I just made?
Yeah, actually, now if you see how I presented my presentation today, the first thing you need to do is first establish your business plan. All right, make sure your numbers that you need to hit is on that piece of paper. And when you build your 135, is social media one of the strategy you need to achieve that priority? If it is, then you need to do it. You might not need to do Facebook marketing if the other methods already help you to achieve your goal.
Correct, absolutely right. That's when the models are the critical element of the agent's thinking. It's not about selling, it's about a business plan. And what you have seen and what you have observed today, that what Wing and Rain is doing, it is not that they are focusing a lot of time on Facebook. Facebook is one part of their business, one of the things that they have to do every day. But there are so many more things that they're doing. I mean, they don't even have time to dive deep how they follow up with their clients. I believe, right, for them to get 200 leads and to get that 7 sale, I believe, right, there are a lot of things they can do and even improve in their follow-up. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bing. So there's so much more things that you need to do. So if you don't understand the economic model, the budget model, sorry, the lead generation model, and budget model is where you come in when you spend money. But if even if the first two models you don't get it, the economic model and the lead generation model, right? Facebook may not be useful at this stage in your business. So you got to think through. And I like what this reminds me of what Jonathan Quay was talking about yesterday. It is not what you do, it's how you do it. And I'll go one more deeper, it's also why you do it. Because Wings made a very good point. It doesn't mean that Facebook is the way for your business in the market that you're in. Because every location, every market, it's totally different. You get to know your market. You get to understand and master your market. Wing knows his market. He knows what target audience he wants. He can tell you right now, he's looking for government servants. Am I right to say that?
There is one customer that we love right now.
So they love government servants. Don't worry, bro. The whole of Malaysia, we have the highest number of government servants in the world. So that means your target audience is right. All you need to do is find out. Now, if people are on this call, there are 309 of you on this call. If you know someone who is a government servant, you sit down and talk to Wing, potentially you can pass a lead and work something with him right now. Am I right to say that? Would you be
I
open
need
for that?
to clarify a little bit here is that my product, I need the high ranking government servant.
Right, correct. The DG4, DG5, DG3 ranking. So this is what you need to think about. He's so clear, he knows what he wants, what their needs was. So my question to everyone in this room, do you know what you want?
Correct. So actually, what I wanted to re-emphasize here is, which is why in every session, I put up the brain, I want to trigger the thinking process. In 2 hours, I'm not able to show you everything that we do, but I hope that it will trigger for you to give more thoughts into your own business.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question here. Is there any testimony or example where sub-sale scale can be big, explode when working in a team of 2 or more people versus solo businesses?
Now, if you ask me personally, moving forward, one very important element in real estate is actually speed. So if you are working alone, you can never fight a team of people in terms of speed. All right. So if you ask me, I do think that moving forward, you need a very small dedicated team to focus on a particular area. I don't mean a very big team. A 2 or 3 person can focus on an area that would be ideal. But of course, now when you work in a team, there's pros and cons as well. So make sure that everything is ironed out, all the role and responsibility is clearly defined. Because I have seen many teams that break. I have also seen many teams that has gone on and do great things.
I think it's about be very clear of that responsibility. Who is taking care of the buyer side? Who's taking care of the seller side? Who is managing this? Who is doing admin work? Who is doing marketing work? So you need to be very clear of that specific roles, and stay tuned for. That's a very good question, May. I like that question. Stay tuned for more trainings on how we can look at this moving forward.
Wing, it's not over yet. There's another question from Joanne Ong. She asked, do you mind to clarify the economic model and how you calculate this number of listing needed and database needed to meet the 2 million target that
I answered that just now already.
Yeah.
I think Joanne's what do you call that question is, have you seen teams who are made up from different agencies?
I don't see obstacles. I mean, in this industry, if you are long enough, I don't mind working with anybody, but everybody needs to be professional. One thing very important is you need to know your stuff, right? Days where I got to work with. Now I'm not discriminating, but if you ask me right now, working with someone who don't know your things, I'll get frustrated. So working in a team, if everybody know your role and responsibility, and that is when I believe a very big impact can be created.
So basically clarifying all expectations, setting it up, also finding the right people with the right perspective and right mindset, and also understanding that this is the goal that we all want to achieve. I think that's the key also for that team. Mike has another question here about FB. Can you see it, Wing?
Yeah, I see it. If you're doing FB ads on your listing price between 700 to 1 million, would you list the price in your ads? Now, this is just a copywriting. Whether you list or don't list, it's really depends on how many leads that you are getting. Now, if you don't list the price, you might get a lot of leads, but some of the leads might not be the range that you are looking for to buy 700 to 1 million. So if you got too much leads, and if you want to qualify some of the leads and you put the price in there, it will help you filter off those lower income people. So it depends on whether you have got the time to follow up with the leads or not. So that is my criteria in determining whether to put the price or not. And how would you do FB ad to attract leads? Again, like I say, right now it's really not about FB ads. Right now it's about FB campaign. In a campaign, there is multiple ads. You can still put out FB ads, but the conversion rate is not so high. Right now, Facebook is about value creation. First, you need to do some create some value to your followers, free content. So when they follow you, so later part when you want to sell to them, it is a lot easier. So that is what we are seeing right now.
Hey, Wing, maybe to touch on this, would you give an example? What are the value created contents that we can all do for the customer, so that's a perspective, so that everyone can have that idea?
Like for example, earlier morning session, when the government announced the moratorium, like I said, I received a lot of calls asking me, hey, whether should I opt in or opt out, until I was so frustrated. So end up I do a video. So every time when someone asks me, I'll send them the link. So they watch the video. All right.
Got it. So you could actually send a link as a touch point to all the people in your database. They click on that link, they watch it definitely, or they would also like the particular page that you just sent them. They may like that page, they may like that video, and they may even share out with their friends.
Actually, what I did after I prepared the video is I actually emailed all my previous buyers that has bought with us that link to the video. So just to keep in contact with the buyers. Like what Rin mentioned just now, the 33 touch point, it's very important, but sometimes we also run out of idea what to touch. All right. So these are some of the values that we need to create.
Yeah, send them a coupon to cut hair after MCO. A 5 ringgit discount coupon. Everyone needs it. I need it. If you send to me, I will take it. Is there any more questions for everyone?
Someone briefly asked much earlier if they want a consultation with you, what they need to prepare. Is there anything they need to prepare before they come and see you? That's
a good question.
Okay. Now, it's just a 30 minutes, all right? So if you come with your existing plan, or certain questions that you would like to ask me, or some of the very specific things that you want to discuss with me, I think that will be more meaningful as compared to you come and ask me what should you be doing for your real estate business, right? So yeah, that is my take. Because
the preparation is get the questions ready, write it down, or get your business plan ready, write it down, so that you can talk to them. Yeah. Any other questions that anyone have? There you go. Michael has a question.
All right. Will you use an advertisement platform to generate leads for a specific project or a specific property, or use it to create an advertisement so that they'll call you? Okay, to answer Michael's question, this is also, I see a lot of brands that is actually making this fatal error. Now you got to understand is when you put out advertisement, what is your objective? When you put out advertisement, doesn't matter whether it's Facebook advertisement, web portal, SMS, whatever advertisement, newspaper advertisement, your objective is to generate call inquiry, all right? So you cannot put out information like, for example, the exact location, the exact house, the exact project. These are things you cannot do. So if you've already given them that piece of information, they would not call you anymore. All right. So which is why you need to understand clearly what is your objective when you place those advertisements, is to generate call inquiry. So do the right things.
So make the advertisement more general. You can put price range, you can put general location, and a call to action.
Yeah. So the advertisement, basically you need to entice them, make sure that they are curious so that they will pick up the phone to call you or click the link and WhatsApp you.
Yeah.
So which is why I also want to add further is that, which is why I see a lot of rent try to sell over the phone. This is also another fatal error. You don't sell over the phone. So you don't disclose too much information when you're handling that call inquiry as well.
What's your goal when someone call you? What's your one thing what's your one goal in your head or that you train the agents to do? Is it to set an appointment? Is it go to the show gallery? What's that one thing that you teach the agents to do?
Now, before the MCO period, I'll tell the agent is that make them excited and then ask them to schedule an appointment. That is before the MCO period. But during the MCO period, I'm asking the team to push a little bit further and see whether they can actually do the closing over the phone without viewing the show unit. So we are still testing that out.
But you will send them like pictures, videos, or pictures of the show unit and all that. The virtual experience is still there, or how does that look like? Would you call and one call and make the sale, or give them a journey through virtual experience first and have a few conversations, then close?
Depending on client, actually. Now, all those materials are all there. Like I always tell the agent, you don't just copy all the material and then send the client one shot.
Yeah.
So you actually need to use the material piece by piece. So some of them see just one or video, few images, they're already excited. Then you call to action, schedule viewing. Some you might need to send a lot of images, videos, and follow up. So it really depends on the person that you're speaking to. But one mistake that you cannot make is just copy and paste everything and just like shoot to your buyer.
Just don't tell them the whole thing. Don't send them the whole brochure over, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think most agents are too excited. Whatever information they have, they just want to blast it out and then just want to regurgitate everything to their client, and that may not be the best way.
No, a lot of agent thinks that the more information you send to the client, the higher chances that they will schedule viewing with you. That is actually not the case.
Yeah, yeah. There's a question by Joanne here. The age buying is 24 to 30. If that's like a big chunk of that, most people come out broke from university. Any comments? I don't quite understand. Are you saying that people cannot afford? Is that what you mean, Joanne?
Now again, based on your statement, yeah, you also said most of the people, not all. So I think your assumption is actually not right.
Okay, there you go. What's the key method to arrange viewing appointment when you get a call or message from a client? Jason has asked a very good question.
Right. Again, I think I really, okay, now during my live session in MC2, someone asked me what is the magic word that we use so that the person will come and view with us. The answer is actually no. So there's no magic word. Like what I replied previously, client to client is very much different. Some see one image, few image, they're excited, then you can ask them to view. Some you can talk to them 15 minutes, they will still ask you to send more information, they will think about it. Right. So at the end of the day, you just need to be very clear is that your goal is to entice, your objective is to schedule viewing. Now what you have got to do, like how you do it, you got to tailor-make it.
Every customer looking at this property come from different perspectives, different needs. It could be for children, it could be for themselves, whatever that is. But I think the key thing is we must also try to find out why they're buying as well. I think that's one key method. And then what are the things that we can do? Like I like what you say, Levine, you say, how can you influence them to come for one appointment first? Right. I mean, before MCO and post MCO is how do you come get them engaged in an appointment first? I think most agents try to sell them a house without viewing or sell them straight away on the spot because they want that quality buyer. They don't want to waste time. So I think this is the challenge is where you keep engaging your customers and you get them sending like what Wing does. He sends them. Yeah, that's right. Madeline, you're absolutely right. Know the risk profile of your client as well. That will be helpful. If you understand how they behave, what they need and what they want, you will work towards them this way. Very hard. I don't know about you, Wing, but I find myself in my real estate journey for 16 years, it's very hard to have one method that fits everyone.
Right.
Because it's not logical. You could sell burgers this way, you could sell chicken rice this way, but you just can't sell property this way because it is probably after I always say it's the second biggest decision in their lives that everyone will make. The first decision is who you marry. The second decision is what property do you buy to stay, or what's your first home that you buy, or what property that you buy. So it's a very big decision. So we cannot handle everybody in one method. I think that's the key here. Do you guys agree? Do you agree that's the key here?
Right, and this is also the challenge that I face. You know, back then when I was as an engineer, I faced the computer every day. So you know, I talk to computer. I talk to computer yesterday and today. It will give me the same response because it is deterministic.
Correct.
So I'm not talking about different people. Now, even if I can talk to someone, the same person yesterday, he give me response A. I can talk to that same person today. He can give me response B.
Absolutely.
So this is the interesting part here. You need to understand is you are dealing with people. So people is never deterministic.
That's right. Kamaru, you make a right point. The need analysis is probably one of the skills that we all can learn to help us get to that place. Mel, may I want to ask you, why did you move from engineering to real estate?
Okay, to answer that question, I still remember as someone who just come out from university, in one of the one-on-one meeting that I had with my very first boss. I actually did met him. Now he's in Austin. The last year I went Austin, I met him. I remember I asked him he asked me what I want to achieve. I told him that by the age of 30 years old, I want to make 1 million ringgit. Now, of course, he never give me any response. He just tell me that if in order to achieve that, as an engineer, there might be some difficulty. So I tell him, what is that? Yeah, I know engineering would not be able to help me do that, but I took that engineering times to build up certain skills, certain data analysis knowledge, certain skills I did learn from engineering, which I deploy in real estate. So to me, that is one of the reasons why I switch is I know if I continue doing engineering, it will not be able to help me achieve what I want to achieve.
So you are driven because there's a big why that requires you to achieve this goal. And that goal is the one that draws you to real estate.
Previously, that is how I define my goal, but right now I don't define my goal based on dollar sign anymore.
Yeah. What do you define your goal on? What do you define your goal on?
I am still thinking, actually. I am still thinking, right? I'm still looking at it.
Awesome. But you've got a short-term goal, which is the 2 million for this year. That's very clear.
That 2 million is not solely for me, but also for the people that is working together with us.
Absolutely.
So you see at where myself and Vivian right now, to be very frank with you, like when I mentioned in the February session, even the economy collapsed the second half of the year, we are very safe because our commission for 2020 is already done. So we already know actually how much we're going to make this year. So whatever we are doing right now is for year 2021. So which is why besides myself, I also need to make sure that the people which is working together with us is able to sustain their and achieve their goals as well.
Yeah, that's good leadership. There's a question here from Jason. How would you recommend to approach fresh graduate who could be potential buyers, or fresh graduates who keep saying that they are still young and don't need to get a property?
Now, if you ask me again, this is just my personal perspective. They are not ready to buy yet. So you can just keep them in your database for now. Don't waste time on them.
Yeah. So can I ask you a question, Rick? You won't waste time with people who are not ready. You just put them aside and follow up the database. You are looking for the motivated, the one that is ready. Your goal is to look for the right people. Is that what you do?
You can say that.
Okay. So there are a lot of people who are out there trying to teach us how to convince people to buy, but you cannot convince someone when that person is not ready. Like you cannot convince me to marry you if I don't want to marry you. There's no magic word, there's no method, there's no science behind it, right? The science is have that number lead generation model going. You know that you need 87 sales, you need 400 appointments to get a 4:1 ratio. So get that 400 appointments. So the goal is to get the appointment. Jonathan San asked you, how long have you been in real estate business?
Oh, Jonathan San never attend this morning.
Yeah,
10 years, right?
10 years. No, yeah, okay. I'm going to ignore Charles' statement. Any other questions? Okay, I think we are coming to the end. Before we end, I have a few announcements. Can I have my announcement slide up there first, quickly? A few announcements. Now, tomorrow, we are going to have the economic model. Now, if you have heard about economic model today, potentially you will have heard about economic model the last 2 weeks when we did our first series of virtual training. We're going to bring this back. You'll hear a lot about economic model, because if this thing is not fundamentally used, or you have not have that fundamentally understanding of the economic model, whatever Wing is teaching about the skills and all that, right, it doesn't really matter anymore, because you don't know what you want to get. Start with that first, right? We have a Bahasa Melayu session on model economy, where it's done by Abang Iwan and Adi Fahmi from Market Center 2, but they are going to share it with everyone. So I would encourage those who have not registered to sign up. Can I have the sign up link on the screen, please, on the chat box, please? Okay, there you go, thank you. Next slide, please. There is a, next slide, there you go. For all Redfield agents, please take note. Tomorrow, I will be making some announcements in our live session, live announcement updates for weekly. This is our commitment from management to everyone, that we will speak to you and give you updates every week. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. to 1:30, please get that Zoom link from your MCS. Your MCS would have sent out a Zoom link to everyone. Next slide, please. Now, this is training reminder for everyone. Tomorrow, we have the Bahasa Melayu training, live announcement. We have the market setting training for Ignite. So those who are registered for Ignite in our respective market center, please take note that it's still running for Market Center 1. On Friday, I want to remind everyone, all Redfield agents, this is exclusively only for Redfield agent. You get 1.5 hours campus in training masterminds for sub-sale and campus in training mastermind for project. So those Redfield agents, this is your time tomorrow to spend some time with me. I will be working with you on some of these concepts, especially the 135 and the 411 concepts, to help you structure your business for post-MCO, or even in this current MCO situation. So please don't miss that. Your mastermind would have, your market center support would have contacted you to get you to register, okay? Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, those people who are wondering what we are talking about, who are not part of Redfield, the books that we have are available for sale. So drop us an email, hello@redfield.com, in order for us to respond to you if you have any inquiries about the books. It is as per the description on the screen right now. So we will, and like us on our page, Redfield, powered by Keller Williams Malaysia. So do that. Okay. Now, before we end the session, maybe Wing, what's that one thing that you want to tell everyone here today? This audience, people potentially who are treating their business seriously, because I assume they are by coming to this session today. So what's that one last advice, that one thing that you think they should do, and what you think they should do? Please share with them right now.
I think moving forward, we are entering into a very interesting phase. A phase whereby a lot of things has been reset. Like I mentioned previously, if you hope that things is going to be the same after the MCO, it's not going to. So because of this reset, it will open up opportunity as well. So which is why the whole 4 hours I did today, where I talk about the external factors to all the way to what you need to align yourself internally, it's to prepare you to adapt quickly to the environment that is going to be in the which is coming very soon. So I believe those who is going to make it big is those who can adapt the fastest to the new environment, and they will be successful.
Yeah, and potentially most of us have to throw away our old thinking and our old business models. Potentially that's the case. The way we do business, the way we approach business, we have to throw away that perspective and put on a new lens to make things work for what is going to happen. I like this book by Simon Sinek. If you all know Simon Sinek, there's this book that I encourage, I think is so relevant for all of us to read. It's called The Infinite Game. How you do business, it's not about who is the strongest, who is number one, who is the best that will win the battle. It's not even about winning the battle, because the battle will never stop. That's why it's called the infinite game. It is about how you keep going forward and how ahead are you from the competitors. Because it's not about who is number one, how much you have, how big you are. It's about how ahead you are. Because you could be number one right now, someone come ahead and he'll take away all the market share. So market share battle is absolutely critical right now. So I agree with you, Wing. How fast you adapt, how fast you change, and how fast you go ahead of the competitors is also very critical. How fast you go ahead in the business competitors that you have, that will help you to go through this season. Now, with that right now, thank you very much, guys. There is a feedback form here. I really appreciate if you could fill up the feedback form. It's being posted here on the chat box. It does give us pointers and data and information on how we can improve, because we believe that we cannot stay this way. Even in doing virtual training, we are wanting to improve, and we are very open to hear constructive criticism. Do your feedback form, because those are very important data points for us to understand where we are and how we can do info, and just give suggestions to us. What are some of the things that you want to hear and want to learn and listen, so that we can practice what we call agent-centric focus for the agents. So with that, Wing, I want to thank you very much for taking 4 hours of your time. And I want to thank you for spending that 20 agents that you're going to potentially coach and add value to their lives. I want to thank Rin for being a hero today. Rin, thank you very much for sharing your story. You are an inspiration to all of us. You are an inspiration to me. I hope all of you who have heard all these stories right now, you are fired up and you are going onward. With that, thank you very much. See you at the next training.
Bye-bye.